Hi, it's Sarah SMUTNY, your host of the Simply Balanced podcast. I'm super happy that you're listening in today. And here in this podcast, we are going to go deep on gut health, anti-inflammatory living, spirituality, self-care, and so much more.
Hello, Steph. Yeah, so today we are doing the first series with Steph. She's also a health coach like me. And we both have the same values, the same, kind of seeing nutrition and food as medicine. And we kind of found each other through her husband worked with me ages ago. So kind of we refound by accident each other, not by accident, I think, on Instagram. And now we decided, since a while we're talking about it, to create a podcast series together for you all about, want to start with the topic hormones. But first of all, maybe Steph, you want to say something about yourself, just introduce yourself quickly to the audience, who you are, who's Steph?
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I'm so excited to be here and talking with you. I have a background in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. And like you said, Sarah, we have a lot of the same kind of ideas and approaches to how to, heal yourself. And I'm excited to be speaking with you today.
Yeah, me too. So we will do like a podcast series just to start with, maybe this will become even a longer thing, but just to start with, we will start with a podcast, 6 or 7, I think, I don't remember anymore, about the topic of hormones, because it's a big topic, and we split it in a lot of subtopics to make it also digestible for you. Today we will start talking about the rhythm, like kind of this, you can see actually the hormonal rhythm of the body, a bit like also the seasons in our, in nature. So yeah, we want to speak about that and what this is all about. So Steph, what actually intrigued you about this topic of female hormones?
Yes.
About the cycle awareness.
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I think I have 2 small children. And as I'm approaching 40, I notice that my hormones are changing, and that I feel that they sometimes really can take over my mood, my well-being. And I feel like they take too much control of me, and I wanted to understand better how to flow with them instead of against them.
Yeah.
So that got me reading lots of books on hormone and holistic hormone balancing. And then I came across this concept of cycle awareness and connecting the cycle and the phases of the cycle with the seasons in nature.
Yeah. And did you already implement it for yourself? Like, did it really help you?
Yes, I've been doing it for, I think, about 6 or 7 months now. And I'm not perfectly there yet, but I definitely feel a huge difference in my mental well-being.
Yeah.
And I see clear kind of triggers and moments where I'm like, oh yeah, this is happening now, and I know why. So it doesn't entirely solve the experience, but it makes you feel less out of control, and maybe more, there's more self-love there.
Yeah, more acceptance. I have the same.
Yeah.
Instead of just pushing against and forcing, and want to be always in the same, let's say, the same energy wave, accepting that now you're maybe in winter, let's say, like.
Exactly.
I mean, and then you have to do hibernate, that's it. Yeah. And maybe also cancel some meetings, or actually, what I started, it's really funny because my husband already knows this kind of cycle. He's also very aware, let's say, about this. And so always when I tell him, I'm invited to this dinner or something, he says, Sarah, that's this and this phase. Are you sure you want to go?
That's brilliant. I love that. But that is beautiful. That is the ideal situation, because I think also for people in your, in your tight network, it's really helpful for them to be aware of what you're going through and how you are going to act in certain situations according to where you are in your cycle. And I think it's beautiful that your husband has kind of slotted into the thinking, because I think indeed there are times in your cycle when you are less sociable and you need to spend more time on self-care and just being with you.
Yeah. What I do now also, that I actually adapt my shopping list for the different phases. For example, when I'm in the real, let's say, period phase, I shop. But we will go into that in the next.
Now we're skipping forward.
For sure, what I can already tell you, like the two things that I always have then in house is beetroots and sweet potatoes. Those are two keys.
Yes.
But we'll go into this in the next one. I don't want to take so much, before
that yet. No, let's hold on to that. Yeah. I think maybe we should introduce, for the people that don't know the phases. Yeah, what is that actually?
Oh yeah. Maybe you can explain that. You're very good at it.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So if we start with menstruation, and then the next phase is your follicular phase. So you're coming out of menstruation, and then you have ovulation, and then you have the luteal phase. So if we look at menstruation being wintertime, as you already mentioned, it's time for hibernation. Nature kind of goes into a slumber, conserving energy and kind of trying to rejuvenate, so that when spring comes around, when you've come over your menstruation and you're going into your follicular phase, you kind of having this energy of like renewal, but also a little bit like in nature is fragile in spring. A frost can come and it can be a little bit sensitive. So during these two phases in winter, you want to take more time for yourself. You want to slow down. You want to have less expectations. Take off some things from your to-do list. Cut down on the socializing. Take a bath, read a book, light a nice candle, give yourself a foot massage, watch your favorite TV show, indulge on some chocolate. And when you come into spring, it's a really good time to kind of think about the things that are going to give you energy and make plans and kind of structure how you're going to come out of spring. And then in summer, when you ovulate, you want to, because that's when you have your most power. You're going to be full of energy. You feel sensual. You feel like you can take on the world. You want to take care of everybody as well. Your mother instincts are very strong then.
And you feel very sexual and radiant.
Yeah, exactly. And you can take on the world and nothing can stop you, kind of feeling. And then you can action all the plans that you've been thinking about in spring. Then when we come into the luteal phase and the pre-menstruation, this is again a time to reassess, like, where do I want to put my energy and where do I want to cut off things and shed things and become a little bit more slimmer and more focused. Because that's the time, again, that you can feel overwhelmed by things and you can feel like everybody needs everything from you and you don't have the energy to give that much anymore. This is where PMS comes in. And if you don't respect this need for your closing down and hibernating, then you tend to have a lot of strong PMS feelings of frustration, irritation, anger, headaches. All of this is your body telling you, like, I can't, leave me. I need to prepare for winter and rejuvenate.
And that makes it so, like, knowing that makes it so powerful to go in this self-acceptance.
And I think that comes back to what you started with saying, that we cannot have this constant energy as a female. It doesn't work like that. And I think because men are more set up for a stable energy in terms of, they don't have the same cycle and the same kind of fluctuation of hormones. It means that because society is very much based on male society and how it works for them, we have forgotten to look at our cycle and to realize that we have these fluctuations and it's okay. It's okay to lean into the feeling of, I can't nurture right now. I need to, take care of myself, or I don't want to be extra sociable right now, or all of these feelings are legitimate And if you accept them in those moments, then I think you can feel much more comfortable in yourself, more authentic with yourself.
Yeah.
And you can kind of gain energy at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And also when you, for example, you maybe even cancel some events or dinners or, social things, let's say.
Yeah.
And then you can, of course, reschedule them, say, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling, in this, I'm not feeling my energy right now. Let's make a date for coffee or whatever you want to do with that person in checking your calendar, in 1 week or something like that. And then exactly. You can give, because otherwise we are also just a shadow of ourselves. We just drag ourselves there. And then it's even also repelling sometimes to people when we just people please, because it's pure people pleasing. Going against our cycle, against our... Yeah.
Yes, correct.
I made so much of this experiences, so I can speak from experience.
Yeah. I think that comes from, also from age and having gone through the cycle for a longer time, that you notice these patterns, right? And that okay, I'm not going to be the best versions of me, so I shouldn't be putting myself out there.
No. Yeah, because when I was 20 or something like that, I didn't even come to my mind to question this.
Yeah, exactly.
So like getting very practical, like how has this helped you, like seeing your cycles and the seasons in practical life, like just to give our listeners a bit more, even more practical insights and tips?
Yeah, of course. So I think, first of all, I created a diagram of 28 days. That's how long my cycle is currently. And for each day, I put in one word. And then if I do that over 3 or 6 months, then I start to see a pattern. And I really, really notice, for myself at least, there's a clear distinction on what's called transition days. Transition days are days when your hormones are in massive fluctuation. You're going from one phase to the next phase.
Yeah.
And they happen 4 times. Each change of season is when you have this transition day. And that is times when I really question my sanity. And I think, what the heck? Yesterday I was feeling fantastic. And today I feel absolutely like the world has gone upside down. My mood is terrible, or I feel very vulnerable, or I feel very jittery, and like I have too much energy, but I can't sit still, and like ants in my pants. It's those are, for me, have been really helpful to pinpoint them, because I used to think, literally, I had days when I would wake up and I'd think, wow, it's really hard to be human sometimes. I don't know what's wrong with me, but there's something wrong with me today, or something is out of whack with me.
Yeah.
And that makes you question yourself. You become insecure. You think, maybe there's something wrong with me. But knowing that this is specifically these hormonal fluctuation days has really given me a sense of peace with it. I still have the feelings, but I don't think, oh my God,
awareness. It's just awareness. Yeah. Consciousnness. That's the word. Consciousness of yourself. I can relate so much with this, what you just say, this fluctuation days. I know it now already. I have always this one day in the month. I would love to have this day always. Awesome.
Yeah.
Super beautiful. My skin is the most perfect ever. I feel like, like a butterfly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I know already, when this day is there, I know, okay, tomorrow will be, sorry for the word, shitty.
Yeah.
It's always that one. Yeah. So I know.
Yeah.
Normally like I would fall into depression the next day, because I was like, oh, yesterday, how I can life be like yesterday, and then you fall in this victim mode, and then it's awful. It's even making it much harder.
Yeah. I think so I think, just being aware and figuring out your kind of trip over days or transition days, because knowing that will really help you feel better even in those moments. You can take solace in, like, this is one day, tomorrow's going to be different again, because sometimes when we're sitting in those feelings and we're having those days, it can feel like, oh gosh, I've landed in a black hole. But no, it's just the one day, and you're allowed to just have an off day.
I think what could be a very beautiful idea also for our audience if you tried to do, first of all, getting aware of this transition days, and second, making this transition days kind of like a ritual.
Yes.
Like a new moon, when you do like the new moon ritual, this kind of rituals you do for maybe also setting an intention or these kind of things you can do as maybe with your transition days, like letting it a specialty, these kind of things, or a bath or whatever it is for each of these transition days, where it helps you to go into the next phase.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and I think
very nice idea.
I think also for each season you can have an intention or a word to help you remember the kind of vibe of this season. And if I may, I would say for winter, the word would be nourishment, self-nourishment, self-care. For spring, it would be, creating ideas and planning for the future. And for the summer, it's just productivity and activity.
Yeah.
Social butterfly. And for spring, again, it would be, conserving, kind of protecting your energies and nurturing your ideas. And for autumn, it would be like reassessing your ego, getting rid of the fluff, and again, kind of going inwards.
Yeah. Slow down, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Slowing down.
Yeah. But spring for me is also a little bit rebirth.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So it's got new energy and upward movement and, coming out of sleep, but it's also so kind of vulnerable to criticism or sensitive to, big emotional outbursts and that sort of thing too.
Yeah. I love this idea to do this kind of mini rituals for the seasons, but also the internal seasons.
Yeah.
Because we can see each other, like our body is kind of, I use it sometimes when I speak about the gut microbiome, or like, about health in general. I see it as a garden. And the garden also goes through all these seasons,
Yeah, that's a really nice analogy. And I think with a lot of things in life nowadays, it's so good to be reminded of what nature is doing and the cycle of nature. Even outside of hormones, the way you eat, the way you kind of approach your self-care, it's really, really good to look at nature. What's the energy of nature? What's happening right now? How can I tap into that energy and follow along that energy source rather than, again, going against it? And I think for women especially, often we feel like we need to produce every day. We need to have a certain level and kind of for our own self-confidence and feeling good, but also towards the external world. Like, look at what I did today. I completed this. I was good today. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really think if you allow for these moments of autumn and winter to be kind of slowing down, take down your to-do list, you will have more that you can produce later.
Yeah, because you don't burn yourself out in those moments. Yeah. So that's that's a very, very strong message for all the hustle ladies who are listening to us now. Because I'm not judging at all. I was one of them, or I'm also sometimes still falling back into it. I always have to pull myself out of it. So
yeah, correct. And I think like the last time we spoke actually was exactly what happened too, and it was a beautiful reminder. Twice in one day, I had the conversation first with you, and then another friend. Speaking of needing to build in joy into life again, and this friend of mine spoke of the word glimmer. I never heard of that before, but it's apparently the opposite of stress. Finding the things that make you feel safe, that make you feel happy, that make you feel comfortable, as opposed to afraid and scared and nervous. I think in general, looking out for those in our daily lives really help, because we are so easily overwhelmed by what we have to accomplish, again, productivity, but also that we are constantly bombarded with kind of, the lack of time, the lack of money, the lack of the space to just sit and do nothing.
Yeah. I love this word glimmer.
Yeah, it's great, right?
Get more glimmer in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to be always like glittery parties and everything. It can be like the small glimmer thing. Like this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think a lot of people get confused there, and I certainly also, when people talk about you should meditate, you need to journal, you should take a cold bath, do the cold shower thing, you need to put your intentions. Sometimes that also feels really overwhelming, and it's adding to the productivity to-do list, and making you feel even more weighed down. I think the glimmer is exactly like you said. It's about the moment you're making yourself a nice tea.
And finding a spirituality in that.
Yes, exactly. Taking a moment and being present with that. Or you made yourself a nice lunch. Just sitting in the moment with your lunch. I prepared this with love, with whole foods. I did it for me. That's a glimmer,
Yeah, and maybe eating it outside on the terrace if you have one.
Yes.
Or on the balcony, I don't know. And then seeing the light shadows falling on it, like seeing this kind of glimmer, yes, all these little poetic moments. Yeah,
exactly. And I think they do more in the long run if you kind of add them up than feeling like, oh, I have to add journaling, or I have to meditate, or I have to, those are, I'm not saying they're not good to use and not good to do, but if you feel that they're overwhelming you and they don't add the like ease and the relaxation that they're meant to do, then I think the smaller things could add for more value.
Yeah. Everything that doesn't come easy at ease is not meant to be.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
So that was already, I think, so inspiring for me, like to exchange with you about this. But also, for you listening to us, if you have anything you want to share about this, or maybe even share with us your word for the seasons, maybe you have different words for each season. You can reach out to us on our Instagrams. We'll be very, very happy to connect with you on that. Yeah.
Yes.
And so what is a kind of a last tip you would give to our
yeah, good one. I was going to actually ask you that one. You start first.
I would say just reconnect with the universe which is in you. And because we always see it in the outside, and we are so much in the outside all the time, something in the TV, and then we are on the phone, and then we are I don't know, like at our boss, or the bus who's coming late, or I don't know, all these outside things which stress us. But and then we completely ignore the kind of the sometimes even drama which is happening in us, which are the seasons, which can be also quite dramatic changes. And by ignoring all that, and on top focusing always on the outside, we get even more overwhelmed, because this is all too much for our mind and our emotional stability. So by cutting out a lot of the noise, and by reconnecting, and really also in this case, I would say journaling, or like this, making this calendar is very, very helpful, at least once for a month, to really tune in and see patterns. That's really helping. I use that also for other things, like with food intolerances and all kind of things, because then once you write it down, you see it over, like from far, after a certain period of time, you see things. Because if you're always in it, you don't connect the dots. You don't connect the dots. That would be my advice. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. I don't really add anything to that, because I think that's complete in its own.
Yeah. Well, so I hope we inspired you a lot with this. It helped us a lot. And also already our clients, of course, because we share this concept with them. So I hope you also took something from this. And as I said, connect with us on Instagram. I will put also Steph's Instagram in the show notes. And Steph, remind me, what will be our next episode topic?
Yes, the next one we're going to talk about food and hormones. So how can you, along the lines of the energy of your cycle, how can you feed and nourish yourself during these different cycles?
Yeah. So what foods you need in which cycle?
Yeah.
Which season? Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm looking forward. And so tune in again in our next episode as well. And of course, share if you found this very inspiring, share it with others. It might help them too. And see you next time here with Steph.
Super. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.